Warrior, maybe you are hearing this bit of news first about Dirty Diddy. Now, I want to talk about Dirty Diddy for a variety of reasons. By now, you should know I refer to Diddy, P Love, Puff Daddy, whatever he's going by these days. Have always referred to him as Dirty Diddy, as many of the people on the street here in New York have always referred to him. So we're going to stick with that decades long name of Dirty Diddy. Just today announced was his May 5th scheduled trial was to begin. However, they have asked for a 30-day extension. Now, I have always maintained that this will never even go to trial. That's my personal opinion. I'm not a lawyer. Delay is the way. Because looking at what's been going on since he was arrested last September, it has been just one kind of propaganda story, delay tactic, craziness, anything surrounding this. How can this even go to trial? So right now we're going to find out in a couple of days if, his lawyers will be granted this wish of their 60-day extension. And we'll see where that is. May, June, that would bring us into July. Again, I don't think it's going to happen. I want to tell you why I want to keep on this case. For years here in New York, we heard stories about Dirty Diddy. Heard stories. Have to have proof, right? I wasn't directly involved. What can I do about it? But when you hear stories constantly, 90s, 2000s, upwards to now, up until his arrest, where there's smoke, there's fire. Why this story is so important is because it's going to be very, very tough. A lot of the alleged victims were over 18 years old. That's one thing. And then flip it around, we've got that societal problem of not believing victims, right? That's what people tend to do, whether it's law enforcement, the justice system. That being said, so many people who did not know each other all came forward with the same stories. How come we're not hearing more about, his right-hand woman, Christina Coram? How come J-Lo hasn't weighed in on anything? Maybe she has. Maybe it's behind the scenes. Maybe immunity is being offered. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just surmising. This is how my warrior's brain works. But it'll be very interesting, and I'll tell you why it's so interesting. We have so many here in New York who would say the rap, the hip-hop music, in retrospect, they're now adult women. Looking back, it was nothing more than, in their opinion, a trafficking operation, right? Now, that could be said about other kinds of music, the entertainment business as a whole. But let's just keep that in mind. The importance here is, as we got through that other story that never really, as far as I'm concerned, came to fruition with any kind of accountability, and that would be the Jeffrey E. story. We'll skirt around some algorithms here. That left a lot of victims, not only of his, but also of all kinds of exploitation and abuse, just sighing their heads. Once again, power and money always wins. Important men always win over us, the vulnerable ones. So this story of Dirty Diddy is so important because let's see if there's going to be accountability. Let's see if there's going to be unraveling and those complicit involved. Let's see for those victims, and not only the alleged victims of Dirty Diddy, but of all who suffer, that we show some kind of, again, I have to use the word accountability, so that once and for all, we can start giving something back, intervening, preventing, and showing victims. Because remember, you don't hear about a lot of these victims. Most people don't report. They're too afraid. They just want to go away. They want to forget. They're embarrassed. They think they caused it. So we have so many people out there. When I look at the stats now, 1 in 4 young college women, by the time they're a freshman, will be exploited, abused, assaulted. 1 in 4. So maybe it's 1 in 3. Because what do I always tell you? The numbers are always higher than what we know about. When I look at children, and 1 in 5, 1 in 4 will be approached online. And then 42% of them will attempt to meet that stranger in real time. Think about that. Could be half attempt to meet. So we have all of this society. It's interesting because today I was reading an article about the pornification of America. Now, I certainly am digressing a little bit here, but it started back in kind of the early 90s, and it was going into, all of a sudden, it was Britney Spears as a child on the cover of Rolling Stone, which I certainly remember. And it was the movie American Beauty about another teenage girl. And it just became the topic. And nobody really, there was some talk about it at the time, as I recall, but nobody really pushed back too hard. And it just continued and continued and continued. And here we are today, 2025, where it's part of our culture, all of this sexualization. And I'm so afraid that society is just thinking this is normal, and they become habituated. And another story, Dirty Diddy, Harvey Weinstein, and all the other ones. But let's start coming together, raising awareness, talking about it, and having some accountability. We'll be keeping an eye on this, but I think we will never see Dirty Diddy in the courtroom. That's just my opinion. Delay is the way. We'll keep an eye on it. Please honor our hashtag, Community Creates Change. And May 6th, if you're in the New York area, we will be holding a great night of hope at the wonderful Cutting Room on East 32nd Street. Come join us at 5:30. Tickets, go to our Lynn's Warriors X or Facebook. You'll find all the information. We're going to have joy, music, food, discussion, and a couple of laughs, because everybody needs a laugh or two, right? And we're going to also have our great survivor leader, Angela Williams, who collaborated with investigative reporter Brian Thomas on the book that recently came out, Vegas Concierge. And it tells the story of how Angela put her trafficker in prison. And guess what? He is a hip-hop producer, rap producer. So we come full circle. And don't forget, talk to your kids open and honestly. LynnsWarriors.org is the place to be on a daily basis for breaking headlines. And when you wake up each and every day, go out and be a warrior.